Okay, it's the morning after Jonathan shot his first buck, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to start the quartering process. Usually I like to let a deer hang a good week and let it age, but we don't have that opportunity right now. The garage is going to get warm today, so let's go ahead and start. I like to get a plastic table, and I have a very low bleach concentrate with warm water, and I like to clean this table really good before I put any meat on it. Next thing I like to do, once I got my table set up, have my knives sharpened, I like to take my knife, turn the blade sideways, and run it across the meat where there's any hair. And this does a nice job of getting a lot of that hair off there. A lot of guys run water on it right away, and a lot of times that water pushes that hair underneath the silver skin. I don't like to do it that way. I know a lot of guys do it that way, but I'll just take my knife, and if you can see, most of that hair is coming right off that deer. It's my second step. And take that knife across there. Just get as much hair as you can off that deer before you start cutting into it and getting into like a more wet part of the meat. The next step that I like to do now that we got most of the hair off this deer is I like to cut out what we call the sweet meat. Anybody that's been hunting for years, we know this is the most tender part of the meat. It's like the filet mignon on the deer. It's right inside here in the back part, tucked inside the spine. What you want to do is you want to take your fingers and you want to feel that meat out, and you want to work it out with your fingers and with your knife just a little bit. It does not take much cutting. You want to watch so you don't overcut it, because you can really tear it up. Work your fingers down, loosen it off the bone there, get that knife back in there, and just take your time. If you've never done this, you want to get as much of that meat as you can, because you will have to clean this front part off pretty good where the guts were touching, and just work that straight out of there, straight up, and cut it out. You'll clean all that up once you get that out of there, and that is just an excellent piece to throw straight onto the grill if you have a chance. I'm going to cut out the other one, then we'll go to the next step. Okay. Now with the sweet meat out of the deer, what I like to do next is I like to get these front shoulders off the deer. So what you want to do is you want to take your blade, come inside the armpit, and make it cut and pull. Cut and pull. Cut down across the ribs. And cut right into the neck. And that removes that front shoulder from your deer, which is going to give you a chance to get more of that back strap out of there. The next step that I like to do is remove the back straps. I mean, these are the chops, great part of meat. A lot of people love to grill this. I love to grill this. What you do is you come down here, and right where the hindquarters end, you want to take your knife and you want to make your first cut into there. You can go the whole way into the ribs and get that working. Then I follow the rib cage, right off the rib cage, making sure not to cut the meat. And I make a cut. My next cut, I go right inside the spine, and I start working my knife down, barely penetrating, just trying to get this thick skin cut so that meat will fall out. Work that down the spine, holding your knife tight to the spine. Might have to work that a couple times, and now you have a starting point. The hardest part is to get this started. Once you get this started, you don't need to use your knife too much. You'll cut up too much of the meat. You just need to hold your knife and use it as a guide. Let me see if I can get this off the rib. There we go. Once you get it started, you'll see this just kind of falls out. Pull on it a little bit. Don't over tug it. You don't want to ruin that meat. And just let it work itself out. Sometimes it sticks up over on the side where the rib cage is. A lot of cartilage and everything holding it in. A lot of different muscles coming together. As you can see, that's coming out really clean. Keep working it down. Work it down into the neck. Whatever meat is neck meat, you can cut off and use for your burger. And once you get down into the neck and you run it down, go ahead and take your knife and cut it clean. If you look, barely any meat left in there. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side, and then we're going to get on to the next step. Okay, before we get on to the hindquarters, I'm going to just go ahead and show you guys. If you don't want to lay all this scrap down on your butcher table, you can go ahead and grab that and pull most of it right off your back strap. And as you can see, there's a beautiful looking back strap getting ready to be butchered up. Put it on the table. Alright, the next step I like to do is clean up some of this other meat before I cut the spine away from the deer and it hits the ground. We've got neck meat here we can clean up. We got different meat that was kind of left over from the back strap stuck to the bone. Got some rib meat. Any of this blood shock, it's no good. Don't worry about it. That's what happens. But you do have meat on this side, and we're going to go ahead and clean up as much meat as we can and get it for burger. Okay, we got as much salvageable meat off this carcass right here that we could. As you can see, there's a lot of blood shock. There wasn't much we could get in these two areas, but we got the neck cleaned up, we got some rib meat out of there, and we cleaned the spine up pretty good. Not much picking left for the ravens. So next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. I take my Stanley saw. I use this saw only for cutting deer up, and I'm going to cut this spine away from the hindquarters. It's my next step, so it doesn't take much. Go ahead and cut it away, and it goes with the scrap pile. Next step, we're going to cut these hindquarters apart. And what I like to do is take my knife and run it back through here and cut all the meat and the fat that you can right there. It helps the saw work its way through there. This is better if you have a friend to hold this steel. I'm going to start cutting it, and then once I get it cut, I'll go ahead and throw it on the table, and you guys will see the finished product of our quartered deer. Okay. Through the first part. Okay, now I have made the saw pass through here. I got my hindquarters here. We'll lay it out on the table and we'll show you the display. Well, there we are with the young hunter, the buck killer JD, and we're going to run you across the table of the quartered deer. You have your scrap pile, burger pile, you have your back straps, awesome meat, sweet meat, grill it up for the wife tonight, or the girlfriend, she'll love you. You have your front quarters, your front shoulders, and you have your hindquarters, which I like to call the ham hocks. If you get a chance, go ahead and give this a try. I hope if you're a rookie, this video helps you out. If you're an old timer that's been doing this for years, I hope you just enjoyed watching our video. Thanks for watching.